Welcome back, everyone. I am so thrilled to have you here for this explainer. Today, we're bringing some serious, much-needed structure to what is usually a notoriously chaotic topic, asset division during a divorce. Because let's be totally honest here, nothing says fun quite like trying to untangle a decade of shared expenses, right? We're going to do a highly structured, step-by-step breakdown of Thrive Financial Settlement Agreement module. Get ready, because we're going to look exactly at how this workspace functions, what it actually does, and how you can use it to completely transform raw, messy financial data into a rock-solid, court-ready agreement. So how do you turn a literal mountain of financial data into a truly fair settlement? It's the ultimate question, isn't it? Anyone who has ever dealt with traditional financial discovery knows the absolute pain I'm talking about. You're usually dealing with scattered bank statements, messy color-coded spreadsheets, and just endless back-and-forth emails. Not only is it painfully slow and expensive, but relying on manual data entry dramatically increases the risk of human error. And worse, an unfair settlement. Today, we're going to see how moving away from those scattered documents and into a centralized, data-driven solution changes the game entirely. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the settlement agreement view, the financial data foundation, manual asset and debt division, AI proposals and assessments, alimony and support tools, and finally, exporting for negotiation. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Settlement Agreement View. Let's look at what this module actually is and its primary purpose within the Thrive financial ecosystem. Okay, let's dive into this. Think of this as your negotiation command center. This workspace consumes all the data from your marital inventory and instantly, and I mean instantly, models the outcome of your decisions. Right at the top, you can see the active settlement proposal, mapping out the financial shifts. It shows exactly what spouse 1 nets from the division, what spouse 2 nets, the modeled equalization payment required to balance the scales, and the final net estate figures for both parties. The best part? Everything updates dynamically as you work. It's like a giant puzzle that solves itself as you move the pieces. Moving right along to Section 2, the Financial Data Foundation. Now, it's really vital to understand that this highly intelligent settlement agreement view doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It absolutely requires a solid foundation. And that brings us to the prerequisite workflow. You really can't actively negotiate in a settlement module until you actually have data to negotiate with. So step 1 is extracting your data from raw statements, tax returns, and affidavits using Thrive's document parser. Step 2 is cataloging that extracted data into the asset manager to build a dynamic inventory of the marital estate. Only once that solid foundation is built do you move on to step 3, which is planning the settlement in the module we're exploring today. So once your data is actually in the system, how do you distribute it? Well, that brings us to Section 3, Manual Asset and Debt Division. Before dividing a single thing, the system looks at how property is classified. In the asset manager, every single piece of property, every account, and every debt is assigned one of 4 exact ownership classifications. It's either marital, spouse 1 non-marital, spouse 2 non-marital, or hybrid. Listen, classifying every item correctly right from the start is absolutely crucial. Why? Because that is the literal engine that drives the underlying settlement math in the negotiation phase. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how you interact with that math. For any given asset or debt, let's say a real estate entry, users manually interact with the split sliders and percentage assignments. So if you want an 80-20 split on the marital home, you just grab the slider and adjust it. Boom! The resulting summaries and equalization values are derived directly from your stored user assignments. It's completely transparent, local, server-independent math that gives you total, hands-on control over the manual division. But what if you want some computational help? Let's move to Section 4, AI proposals and assessments. This is where we introduce the Settlement Suite. Within the Settlement Suite, you literally have 2 absolute superpowers at your disposal. First, we have the AI Proposal Generator. This tool analyzes your entire financial inventory and considers specific state laws like equitable distribution versus community property to generate a brand new, fair, data-backed proposal entirely from scratch. Then, on the flip side, we have the AI Agreement Assessor. Imagine opposing counsel sends over a PDF proposal. You can upload it, and the AI will score its terms against your data, generate a fairness score, and instantly flag any discrepancies or undervalued assets. I mean, talk about a massive strategic advantage, right? Now, asset division is really only half the battle. Let's look at Section 5, alimony and support tools. We obviously need to manage ongoing financial support, and this module handles that seamlessly. Now, what's really interesting about this is how the tool provides incredibly deep context. It doesn't just store support numbers. The AI actually generates a written rationale for marital and child support based on documented income disparity in your files. For example, it might specifically outline a calculation based on spouse one's documented salary and bonus of $300,000 annually compared against spouse two's imputed income of $40,000. It uses your actual parse data to justify both the support duration and the monthly amounts. No guesswork involved. So you're probably wondering, what does it actually take to run these advanced automated features? Well, the exact cost to use these AI actions within the settlement module, like generating a full legal proposal or running a fairness assessment on opposing counsel's offer, is exactly 3 AI credits from your balance. Just 3. That is a highly, highly efficient use of resources when you compare it to hours, or honestly even days, of manual forensic analysis. And finally, we reach Section 6, exporting for negotiation. You have your data, you've modeled your splits, you've checked the AI reasoning. So how do you actually get this out of the software and into the real world? Let's look at the final output of this workflow. Thrive Financial is built from the ground up for legal viability, meaning its exports are specifically designed to withstand intense courtroom scrutiny. The tool produces highly professional, shareable PDF outputs. But crucially, these reports include explicit methodology statements. They fully disclose the analysis pathway, explaining that the reports were generated from user-provided records, so it isn't just presented as some opaque, unexplained judicial fact. Furthermore, the actual case file, the .thrive file, is sealed with a SHA-256 cryptographic hash. Basically, this creates a tamper-evident, verifiable chain of custody, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that the data hasn't been altered since it was saved. The ultimate benefit of everything we've looked at today, from the manual sliders to the AI discrepancy flags, right down to the cryptographic hashing, is beautifully summarized by the idea of negotiating from a position of strength. By bringing all your source-linked evidence and your settlement modeling into one structured, totally verifiable workspace, you empower yourself with real, data-backed leverage. You get to step into mediation or the courtroom, negotiating from a position of undeniable strength. I want to leave you with this final thought. Think about the traditional bottleneck of legal negotiations, the endless, exhausting arguing over whose spreadsheet is actually correct. Now, if your financial data was explicitly linked to source documents, cryptographically sealed for integrity, and instantly audited by AI for fairness, how much faster and with how much more confidence could you reach a truly fair settlement? It's a fascinating paradigm shift in financial analysis, for sure. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.